Welcome back to Midco Sports Magazine. Well, Kyler Erickson just finished up his senior season playing basketball at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. You might have seen him when the Mavericks played at USD or South Dakota State or North Dakota State. But the fact that he was on the floor at all is an amazing story, given what he went through in high school. Jay Elson has his story.
Natural ability goes a long way in high school basketball. Kyler Erickson had a lot of it. What he lacked in size, he more than made up for in quickness and creativity. After helping lead Omaha's Millard South High School back to the Nebraska State Tournament for the first time in nearly a decade as a junior, Erickson showed even more promise as a senior. College coaches were taking notice, and it was pretty clear that basketball was a ticket to somewhere. But no one could have predicted the direction the game would take Erickson on January 5th, 2011.
We had a game the night before, and so I hurt my ankle pretty bad in that game, and so I was sitting in class and I asked for a pass to go to the nurse's office just to ice my ankle a little bit. When I was there, we had a student who got suspended that morning and then came back, and he had his father's gun.
Shooting at Millard's house, 14905 Q Street.
Shots fired. Cup an officer. 147th Q, Millard's house.
Robert Butler Jr., the son of an Omaha police detective, shot two people, Assistant Principal Vicki Casper and Principal Curtis Case, in the school's main office. As he left the building, he fired at and missed a school custodian. Debris from that shot injured a school nurse.
We need a medic at the front office. Got a adult male down with an injury to the head. Pierce.
One wall separated us from the assistant principal's office and the principal's office, and so I heard, everything there was to hear, and I saw, just a lot of blood.
Down 22, suspect is gone. Robert Butler is his name. Red Honda Accord two-door.
Police found Butler in his car less than an hour later, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. One of the victims, Casper, died that night. In the wake of the shooting, Erickson was understandably shaken. But the full effects from that terrifying day didn't surface until his freshman year at Northwest Missouri State University.
Everybody's brain is different, and so I know a lot of people who were in the office who saw the same stuff that I did. It hit them a month later, 2 months later, and so for me it hit a year and a half.
Kyler was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD.
I, would wake up a lot of nights and see these ghosts and see these figures. And I didn't want to tell a lot of people because I kind of thought of it just as, something you want to push aside, and I was a college athlete. I didn't want that to affect me or affect my scholarship. And so I kind of just held it in.
As time passed and the symptoms persisted, Erickson realized he needed help. So following his freshman year, Kyler returned to Omaha to begin a therapy program known as EMDR.
It stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so it moves it from one side of your brain to the other, so that's no longer attached with your emotions. We would go in this room and there'd be this, this little panel, this board with lights, all different, shapes and sizes, and you had to focus on these lights while these lights around the room were kind of flashing in all different directions. And so I don't know who came up with it or how, but it does wonders for you.
After 3 months of intense treatment, Kyler's PTSD was virtually cured. The nightmares were gone, and the memories, while still vivid, were no longer crippling. He was emotionally free for the first time since the shooting.
It just completely changed when you go through something like this, and everything my school has and I did, you just kind of soften up and become almost a better person because of it. It's kind of the only choice you have.
It started with forgiveness. Erickson may never understand why Butler pulled that trigger, but he's learned to live with a limitless sense of compassion, a quality he credits to his own struggle with mental health.
These disorders that people have, they can be so strong, and that's what forces people to do stuff like this. And I'm not saying that it's anybody's fault or anything like that, but these things are so much stronger than we think or than we know, and that's why we see all these horrific events that happen.
Erickson, who transferred to Nebraska Omaha in 2013, took things to a new level about a year ago with this self-produced message of hope.
I'm just a kid who dreams of a world with less suicides, less school shootings, less hate, more love, more kindness.
Initially, he wasn't sure what would come of it. That is until his mother showed it to a family member, a war veteran who was in his own bout with PTSD.
He saw the video and then he shared it and then tagged me in it on Facebook. And so then, my friends saw it and they started sharing it, and then the news saw it. They were over there, I think, that same night. And so I was sitting on my computer answering like Facebook messages, emails from, I think it was 5 p.m. till 2 a.m.
The correspondence hasn't stopped, and neither has Kyler. He produced a second video about 6 months later. At last check, his messages had been seen by more than 25,000 people in 13 countries.
I guess my message is just that you're not alone, you're important, you're loved, and you have a purpose on this earth, and so when you think, nobody likes me or nobody cares, I'm putting kind of my name out there and my website, my contact me, call me, whatever it is, because, I care for you, and I want to get you help.
Erickson says countless people, politicians, famous speakers, even athletes, have contacted him. Some just want to say thanks, while others are looking for support from someone that survived the struggle.
A lot of people say, I've gone through the same stuff, I just never wanted to tell anybody, or I didn't want to share that with people. And so since then, a lot of people have opened up and they've gotten help, and they saw kind of what can happen when you make yourself a little vulnerable by sharing that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, you're changing so many lives and opening people's eyes to a world they had never seen before.
Joined by Jay Elson and Kyler, great kid. He's already out there as a public speaker and as a counselor of sorts. Is that something that he would like to keep doing and maybe do it as a professional?
Yeah, it is something that he's already doing and something he does see himself doing full time, and maybe even traveling the country, traveling the world, sharing his story, trying to help as many people as possible. One thing that he does like to share with people is the fact that you can see how his life got better after treatment. And that's what he wants to say, to be able to show people, is just that, hey, look at me, I'm an example of what can happen if you go get the help you need.
All right, thanks, Jay. Well, up next, cute little tykes on cute little bikes. Actually, these little bikes with no pedals have become a big business in the Black Hills. Well, our thanks to Ryan McFarland, to the Farniak family, and to Kyler Erickson for sharing their stories. We'll see you next month on Midco Sports Magazine.